By quill and by charm, my jeweled degenerates, you've turned into Long Live the Queen, Queen's Court gossip, where royal reputations go to die, and every medieval scandal gets the red carpet treatment. I'm your courtside narrator, part-time chronicler, full-time gossip monger, and today's tale is soaked in pearls, betrayal, and the audacity of a commoner who dared to shine brighter than the crown. Darling listeners, let's talk about Piers Gaveston, the medieval thirst trap who broke all the rules, stole all the attention, and possibly the king's heart. He wasn't born noble, but he entered English history like a glitter bomb in a funeral procession. So grab your velvet goblet, fluff your ermine cape, and prepare to swoon, or seethe, because this man was either the ultimate royal heartthrob or the sassiest political disaster to ever wear a jeweled doublet. Let's spill. It's France, around 1284. Piers Gaveston is born, the second son of a Gascon knight, minor nobility. Nice manners, not expected to make waves. But Piers, he has charisma for days. He enters the royal household in the 1290s as a companion to young Edward, or future King Edward II. And the connection was instant. Historians call them close. Chroniclers call them inseparable. The nobles called it a problem. By 1300, Piers isn't just a companion. He's everything. Handsome, athletic, witty, fluent in the art of turning heads and twisting knives. One chronicler says Piers could twist the king around his little finger. Another called him a corrupter of morals. We call that a resume. When Edward I died in 1307, Edward II ascended the throne, and the first thing he did, recall Piers from exile, load him with titles, and throw him a party so extra it included golden fabrics, fountains of wine, and insults hurled at the barons like party favors. It's giving power couple. It's giving you can't sit with us. It's giving gay, medieval, Real Housewives. Now here's where things get chef's kiss scandalous. Edward marries Isabella of France, a diplomatic dream match. But the coronation, Edward wears the royal regalia. Piers wears the queen's jewels. That's not a metaphor. The queen's literal jewels. He carries the crown, sits near the throne, and walks around like he's the co-king. Isabella, side-eyed. The nobles, outraged. And the court, whispering loud enough to wake the saints. Even one English chronicler joked that Edward loved Gaveston beyond measure and called him brother, but acted as if he were something else entirely. Even one English chronicler joked that Edward loved Gaveston beyond measure and called him brother, but acted as if he were something else entirely. Subtle? No. Strategic? Perhaps. Scandalous? Absolutely. Edward even names Piers Earl of Cornwall, a title traditionally reserved for the royal blood. The barons go feral. This wasn't just favoritism. It was a full-on constitutional crisis in a fur-lined coat. Now, if you're wondering whether Piers tried to play nice, no, he didn't. He leaned into the drama like it was a family crest. He mocked the barons, gave them rude nicknames, and strutted around the court like he was untouchable. One noble he called the Black Dog of Arden, another the Churl, and his outfits? Peacocks had less shimmer. You can almost hear the theme music on a Bravo spinoff now. But England wasn't a reality show, and the nobles weren't just angry. They were dangerous. Parliament pressured Edward to exile Piers. The king wept, literally. Edward threw tantrums, threw shade, and finally caved. But every time Gaveston was sent away, he came back, recalled, reinstated, reglammed. It was toxic. It was codependent. It was a medieval situationship that threatened the crown. By 1312, the nobles had had enough. Led by the Earl of Lancaster, a very fed-up Thomas of Warwick, they hunted Piers down like a royal deer. Gaveston fled, surrendered, and asked for protection under the king's word. And then, plot twist, He was kidnapped by Lancaster's men and taken to Warwick Castle. There was no trial, no last plea, just one cold May morning, a lonely hill near Warwick, and a sword. Gaveston was run through, beheaded, and left by the royal roadside like medieval rubbish. Edward was devastated. Rumors say he swore vengeance, wore mourning clothes for months, and erected lavish monuments to Piers' memory. Some say he never forgave the barons. Others say he never truly recovered. But the drama didn't die with Gaveston. Oh no, it just mutated. Here's the tea. Gaveston's ghost lingers in English history. Some see him as a victim, a queer icon before his time, cut down by a system that couldn't handle a man who dared to love power, beauty, and possibly the king. Others see him as a parasite, a self-obsessed social climber who pushed England towards civil war with his arrogance. And the truth? It's complicated. But what we know is this. Piers Gaveston changed the game. He wasn't noble by birth, but he acted like he owned the throne. He wasn't born to rule, but he ruled Edward's heart, and his death marked the beginning of Edward II's slow unraveling. Without Piers, the king leaned on his new favorites, like the dispensers, who made Gaveston look tame. But Edward never found another companion who made him shine and suffer quite like Piers did. So who was Piers Gaveston? A royal lover? A reckless climber? A victim of courtly homophobia and toxic masculinity before that had a name? Or just the wrong man at the wrong time, with too much charm and too little caution? Whatever he was, Piers Gaveston didn't just flirt with power. He seduced it, dressed it in velvet, gave it a nickname, and then wrote it straight into history. What did Edward really feel for Piers? Romantic love or political obsession? Did Isabella loathe Gaveston or quietly admire him? And who leaked the rumor about Piers wearing the Queen's jewels? Petty chronicler or court spy with a flair? You can share your juiciest royal gossip with me at longlivethequeenpodcast@gmail.com. Slide into my DMs on Facebook or Instagram at longlivethequeenpodcast, or join the royal court at Patreon for extended episodes and bonus content. Until next time, stay sharp, stay scandalous, and stay crowned.